What players are going to elevate their game? That's a question I ask myself entering every NBA season, and figuring out who those players will be is one of my favorite things. While I recently did a video on players I thought could become all-stars this upcoming year, now I'll be taking a look at players who could break out. These are players who should either have larger roles for their teams, have the chance to build off what they've done previously, or will be major factors in how their teams fare this upcoming season. I'll be excluding rookies, and there's no specific order except teams being in alphabetical order. But with that said, let's dive into the Eastern Conference and look at some players who could truly put themselves on the map during the 2026 season. For a few years now, I've been wanting the Atlanta Hawks to see what Onyeka Okongwu was capable of as their starting center. This past year, we finally got an extended look at it, and the results on the offensive end were encouraging. In that 40-game stretch, Okongwu averaged 15 points and 10 rebounds a night on impressive efficiency, while continuing to display some passing ability and branching out to take more threes. Though the team acquired Kristaps Porzingis in a trade this summer, which means Onyeka will likely be relegated back to the bench. However, given Porzingis' injury history, Okongwu's arguably more important this year, as he'll not only be a vital player who can produce while playing 24 minutes or so a game off the bench, but could be starting for stretches as well. That's a very important role on a Hawks team with aspirations of a deep playoff run this upcoming season. Chances are that you might not have watched a ton of the Brooklyn Nets this past season, though Sharpe is a player you'll need to know. While he played just 18 minutes a game last season, Daron made them count on both ends of the floor. Sharpe averaged 3 offensive rebounds per game, which makes for some incredible per-possession numbers, and can facilitate a bit for a center while primarily scoring at the rim. The Nets were also nearly 12.5 points better per 100 possessions when Sharpe was on the floor, which was most evident defensively, as the Nets had what would have been a premier defensive rating in the minutes he was playing. Daron this past year was also very good on a per-possession basis defending actions such as isolation and pick and roll. If Nick Claxton, who has been in trade rumors, were to get dealt, Sharpe is the likely starting center in Brooklyn, and from what we've seen, there could be a lot of upside on both ends of the floor in an expanded role. The Charlotte Hornets dealt with a wide array of injuries last season, but one positive that emerged was the play of Moussa Diabate. Initially, the Hornets signed Moussa on a 2-way contract, though by February, that was converted to a multi-year deal. Diabate offensively isn't much of a scorer, as he'll primarily make an impact as a roll man or on putbacks, though he's a relentless offensive rebounder, and this past season was one of the league leaders in that category on a per-possession basis. Moussa also had impressive on-off numbers defensively, as the Hornets were 6 points better per 100 possessions on that end of the floor when he was playing, and displays decent lateral movement with the length that projects to altering shots. With Mark Williams getting traded, the Hornets did add some other centers to the roster, but Diabate's energy and ability to do some of the little things should help him carve out a larger role for a team looking to take a step closer to contending for a playoff spot. NBA teams are always looking for big wings who can score in a variety of ways. Modest Buzelis showed flashes of this in his rookie season with the Chicago Bulls. Modest was dangerous in transition in Chicago's up-tempo offense, but for a 20-year-old, was also very good at moving without the ball and scoring coming off cuts or screens. While he averaged 8 points a game on the year, Buzelis averaged an efficient 13 points a night in 31 games as a starter, though I'm fascinated to see how his game grows in year 2. Modest didn't get a ton of on-ball reps as a rookie, which would help his development as a scorer and facilitator, though he showed some flashes there, and as he adds strength, will likely improve his finishing around the basket and drawing fouls, as he does show touch on floaters. The other scary thing is Buzelis was a league-average shooter from 3, despite being subpar on his open looks off the catch. I've discussed being high on Modest previously, and his development should be a top priority for the Bulls, so I wouldn't be stunned if he scored an efficient 17 to 18 points a game, with improved facilitating in year 2. The Detroit Pistons had one of the most impressive year-to-year improvements in NBA history this past season. Now, if they want to continue to grow this upcoming year, Ron Holland will be a vital part of that. The 5th pick in the 2024 draft, Holland is a dynamic athlete, and this was apparent with the impact he made defensively, how dangerous he was out in transition, and he also showed a lot of promise when driving downhill. Though a weak point entering the NBA was his shooting, which carried over in his rookie year, where he shot just 24% from 3. given that another dynamic defender in Asar Thompson also struggles shooting. One of them has to improve in that regard if the Pistons can play them together. Holland, who did very well drawing fouls as a rookie, did shoot 75% from the free throw line, which is encouraging. While it's a very small sample, he also shot well from deep in Summer League out of a variety of actions. If Ron can become even average from 3, this would make him incredibly dangerous on closeouts, given his ability to get downhill. He's already a dangerous cutter, and all of this combined would lead to more playing time, which would add another dimension to the Pistons roster. In a stunning move, the Indiana Pacers lost their longtime starting center Miles Turner in free agency to their division rival Milwaukee Bucks, though they might have found a solid replacement. Before last year, Huff had played in 31 NBA games with 3 different teams across 3 seasons, though the Grizzlies signed Huff to a 2-way deal, and early last season converted that to a standard multi-year contract. Jay played in just 12 minutes a game for the Grizzlies, where he shot over 40% from 3 on 3 attempts a game, and was also one of the league's most prolific shot blockers on a per-possession basis. The Pacers traded for Huff this offseason and got a player who fills 2 of the biggest needs they'd miss from Turner. Jay can hit threes in a variety of ways, whether it's in transition, pick and pop, or off spot-ups. Then defensively, when he's gotten the play, he's displayed the shot blocking that makes Turner so valuable on that end. The 7-1 Huff will get his most extensive playing time to date in Indiana, and with his blend of outside shooting and shot blocking, it wouldn't be stunning if he ended up carving out a very valuable role that he can play over the next few seasons with the Pacers. Sometimes a change of scenery can work wonders for a player, and Davion Mitchell was evidence of that after being traded to the Heat this past season. Once he got to Miami, Davion carved out a big role immediately and played nearly 32 minutes a game, though in his 30 regular season games with the Heat, he also shot nearly 45% from deep on 3 attempts a game and 50% from the floor. While it's unfair to expect that level of shooting over a full year, Mitchell is also a very good defender and has shown gradual growth as a shooter since entering the league to suggest he is improving in that regard. The Heat signed Davion to a 2-year contract this offseason, and whether it's as their starting point guard or as their 6th man, he's likely going to play 30 or more minutes a game for the Heat and should continue making an impact for them on both ends of the floor. A second-round pick in 2022, Ryan Rollins had played in just 25 NBA games prior to last year, though he got his chance with the Milwaukee Bucks and didn't look back. Rollins shot 41% from 3 this past season, where he was particularly dangerous on spot-ups, but made some shots off the dribble as well, and even started a lot of games for the team down the stretch. Rollins, who has a 6'10 wingspan, is also a very active defender, and when he played, racked up plenty of deflections, steals, and blocks. On top of that, he's capable of facilitating a bit while also limiting turnovers. Add this all up, and you're looking at someone who could very well be starting and playing big minutes for the Bucks this upcoming season. Don't be surprised if the 3-year deal Rollins signed this summer looks like one of the league's better values once the season is underway. The Orlando Magic this upcoming year are looking to win big. They have 2 budding young stars in Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner to go with an all-defensive team caliber guard in Jalen Suggs, and made a big splash to boost their offense in Desmond Bane. Though if the Magic truly are to become a contender, they need some of their role players to take a leap, which is why Anthony Black is so important. Through the first 2 years of his career, Black has been very impressive defensively, but has struggled from 3 and has room to grow finishing at the rim. This past season, he shot 32% from 3, in large part due to a stretch from November through January, where he shot 25% from behind the arc, though Anthony did perform much better from deep as the year went on. Entering this season, Black will play a larger role off the bench, but given that he can make quick decisions with the ball and defend various positions, he can have an impact even if shots aren't falling, though growth as a shooter and finisher would be a huge boost for the Magic's present and future. There wasn't much that went right for the Philadelphia 76ers last year, but the emergence of Jared McCain was a highlight. Through 23 games, he showed very impressive scoring, in particular as an outside shooter, and looked like a runaway favorite to win Rookie of the Year. Though like most things for the Sixers last season, all good things came to an end, and McCain needed season-ending meniscus surgery. Though here's where it gets interesting. With their array of injuries, the Sixers ended up getting the 3rd pick in this past draft, and selected another guard in VJ Edgecombe. So what does that mean for McCain's role this upcoming season? We only saw 12 minutes where he played with the trio of Joel Embiid, Paul George, and Tyrese Maxey, which is far too small of a sample to make decisions off of. Though with both Maxey and McCain being smaller guards, it could be difficult to count on them together defensively. However, regardless of if he's a starter or sixth man, McCain is going to have a huge role for this year's Sixers, as I assume the team looks to take some of the burden off of Joel Embiid, given his injuries. Jared showed a very high ceiling as a rookie, and it wouldn't stun me if he hit the ground running, or was even named Sixth Man of the Year if he's asked to play that role. That wraps up the group of players I think could break out in the Eastern Conference, whether it's in terms of what they could mean to their teams or building off what they've shown previously. All these players are going to be very interesting to monitor. If you had any suggestions for who you think could break out this upcoming season, let me know in the comments, as following the development of these players and the stories that surround them, whether it's in an individual or team context, is part of what makes following basketball and sports as a whole so interesting. If you made it this far, thank you, and if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe to stay up to date with my latest in-depth NBA analysis.